Hello, once again, it's Mr. Pete, your YouTube shop teacher, and this will have to be a short video. I hope it doesn't run too long. In about a half hour, I have an appointment with the undertaker, so let's get at this. You know, in a recent video, I showed you this little WEEDEN engine that I picked up in an auction, and I think I'll show you some still pictures of that right now for those that are interested. And I do understand that a lot of you do not like this type of thing, so you just got to bear with me. I already got it running, but we're going to run her again. And I've had this engine, little beam engine, for a long time. The heater does not work, so I have bid on an online auction for another one, and I won it. My buddy did the bidding for me over in Spring Valley, so I haven't picked it up yet, but I think it has all the pieces, so there'll be a video on those two. I think that is so awesome. Now, this WEEDEN engine is from the 1920s, so it's a full 100 years old. I think they were in the Sears catalogs. They made a lot of different models, and I'm going to, right now, show you a website that my friend down in Texas sent to me, and the website is run by one Mr. Frank Campbell, and Jay Leno, Jay Miller out of Texas sent me the link to that. So if you're interested in these, there's an awful lot of information about the WEEDEN engines, and this is a WEEDEN number 14. They also made it in an electric version, but this is the type that is uses an alcohol burner or whatever source you've got. So I'm going to have about at the end of this video, there'll be an extra credit on how I made the burner. And then when I went on that website this morning, you know what? There was complete instructions on how to make a burner, because they're always missing, but I had already made it, but the similarity to what I made here was remarkable. Great minds think alike, I guess. So, but you know, these were a very popular toy for boys years and years ago. Now, I showed it to my grandsons the other day, and they politely said, "Oh yeah, that's neat," and they walked away. So kids have zero interest. These are collected by men, not by boys. They hate them. They want to play a video game, which is very troubling to me, because is there anything more worthless than a video game? Put it in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. Okay, here is the engine at the auction in the middle of the hay rack, and I couldn't even reach it. I had to grab an old wrecking bar was sitting there, so I grabbed it like with a cane, and I pulled it toward me so I could examine it. I think that might have brought attention to it, because I did have to pay rather dearly for it. And there it is in the grass after I bought it, sitting next to that Wilton C-clamp that I bought. So the deceased owner had a bunch of hit-and-miss engines there as well. I did not stay for the bidding. I did not want to be tempted. Here is a suggestion for you YouTube creators. When you make a video, turn the lights on. According to that website, this is an older one, because there are rivets here. This is a brass boiler, and the name WEEDEN is stamped into the boiler. You may not be able to see that, but let me say something, pardon me, about these toys. There was almost always something missing, because it belonged to a kid, and that's the way kids are. Just the way they are. So the burner was missing. The whistle belongs right here. It was missing. I've already made one. I think it really needs more pressure than what this boiler will produce, but let me blow on it right now, see if you can hear it, but you probably can't because it's very high pitched. Could you hear that? Because here's another one that I had made for an Empire engine. You know, the sound will vary depending on the diameter and the length of the bell. You knew that. But the amazing thing here is that, and by the way, that whistle was made out of this hobby tubing. Works great for that. There is a little governor. And that, since it comes right off, it's shocking that it's still there after all these years. Now this is a dummy. It is fake. It does nothing but spin, but that's good enough for me. And you can see there's a little belt there that causes, remember the governor regulated the speed, just like our great governor in Illinois governs the state of Illinois with great ability. So this engine has a little slide valve right here, and of course there's an eccentric strap here, and there's an eccentric, we don't need to see that. You can't see it, it's on the other side of the crankshaft here. Two main bearings, and I think they call this a crosshead. So it's a pretty awesome little engine, and this is the steam dome with a little copper tube running to the cylinder. And over here, this is a little pop-off valve. I don't know if it pops off anymore, but also when I remove that, that is where we add water. And then there is a little sight glass here, but it's so cloudy it is useless. This little lever here will blow the whistle or blow off extra steam. And here is the knob that will turn the steam flow on and off to the engine itself. The base is cast iron, and this is brass. There's no plastic on here at all. Now, I did attempt to run this with, I had this raised up a little bit high so that I could insert one of my little burners, alcohol burners. There were two wicks on that, but it still wouldn't get hot enough. I had to use the little old torch here to give me the extra heat. Well, that's no good. And I knew that since it's a long boiler, it would be nice to have a burner with 2 or 3 wicks. So that's what I made, and it works great. And again, extra credit, and we'll have a few laughs over how I made this. And as you can see, that'll fit right under here. Just right. It's real low. And that's what I was looking for, was a canister that was low, so I didn't have to alter anything here in order to do that. So let me put this back on. That's not it. Now I got umpteen whistles sitting here. That just slides on. You can see how that got lost. And I'm sure that sat on some mother's windowsill by her kitchen sink for a long time, wondering what it was, and finally she threw it out, and I don't blame her. I couldn't find a funnel small enough to go into that little 1/4-inch hole, so I used this enema bulb syringe to inject it. That way I know how much I'm putting in also. And then when I fill this, I use this other little syringe that my dentist gave me when he yanked one of my teeth, and I never did use it, but he said, use that to clean the socket out if you need to. He's kind of grouchy. I won't show that. And I'm using denatured alcohol. Let me show that. I got a rant on that, if you don't mind. Raise your hand if you know what denatured alcohol is. What does denaturing mean? Well, this was perfectly good drinkable alcohol. I've been in those plants. It's grain alcohol, but of course the government wants every dime they can get for tax. So to keep people from buying this at Ace Hardware and drinking it, they poison it. What do they poison it with? Gasoline. So it'll kill you if you drink this, or make you sick, or blind you, all kinds of nasty things like that. But I get such a kick out of that because we got OSHA and we got this big government protecting us and all of that, and they made poison. They made the companies poison the product. Okay, I've added alcohol to the burner. Now don't let children play with this, and do this in an area where you can't start a fire, no carpeting. And I got the alcohol can in the other room. You can't see an alcohol flame sometimes. You will here, but if it's just, you know what I mean. No, you don't. Alright, so we got them going. I should have wet the wicks. I forgot to do that, so they were dry. That's why it was hard to start. I'm going to put that in place, and you can see how that heats up the full length of the boiler. But now it still takes quite a while. This is less than half full, but it takes quite a while to come up to heat, up to steam. So I'll be back when it's ready. Stay with me though, please. Okay, it's 5 minutes later and it's coming up to steam. Now let's see if you can hear the whistle. I doubt it. It's very high pitched. Alright, forget that. Now it takes a while for everything to heat up because when the steam goes into a cold engine, it's going to condense and there's going to be a lot of water. So some people like to run these in a little pan to collect all of the craziness. I've oiled everything, so we don't have to worry about that. Let's open up the valve. That's hotter than a pistol. And she runs. It's alive! It's alive! I'm surprised how many people told me they also like to watch Svengoolie. Now, it may not run any faster than that, which I don't care, but watch how it picks up speed when I add a little heat very judiciously. I'm sure this is silver soldered, but I don't want to cause any damage to a 100-year-old antique, but just a little bit of extra heat really makes it zing. And there you can see the little governor that does nothing. Like I'm back to politics. Like the governors of many states. Can you see the WEEDEN name now? Now you never want to let a boiler run dry. That's why there's a sight glass. Let's speed it up. Actually, I need to trim the wicks, but I won't bother. WEEDEN made many models, dozens of different models over the years. They're long gone. There was a man by the name of WEEDEN who was the founder. You can read that all on that website. So what do you think of this little engine, or does it mean nothing to you? I got rid of most of my engines, but now that I've made a few dollars with Pete Pay, I'm back to foolishly buying some. And a lot of people wanted me to make a video of this. I suggested it, and I may do that, although you know that I have many little oscillator engine videos on YouTube if you can find them. There's a playlist for that, but nobody looks at it. Alright, now I'm going to take the burner out and we'll have a little fun here with how I built the burner, and then I'll show you those pictures on the internet. So everything is hot now. That's why it's probably not a good idea for children to play with something like this. I don't know, would probably overprotect them. You tell me. But we don't want children hurt. So I put some gloves on. And you don't want to spill that alcohol, see? Whew. See, my whole bench is aflame now. Call 911. Cancel that call. Much of my life is wasted experimenting, but I told you I already tried the alcohol lamps, and this is one of those, I forgot what they call this gel. It's like a gel or jelly, almost like Jell-O, really. And I tried this. This is way too big, but I had some other candy. It wasn't hot enough. So my whole idea was, I'm going to Walmart, and I dread going to Walmart because it's like, well, it's a freak show. But I did go. It took me a long time to find. I thought I'm going to buy a sardine can because it's low and flat. It took me a long time to find that, but it was in the soup aisle, and then there was quite a selection of all of these different kinds of canned fishes, and I'm standing there, and I thought, well, you know, nobody buys any of this stuff anyway, and I was kind of blocking the way, but while I was deciding what to buy, 3 different people came and looked through and bought sardines or whatever it was. So I guess it's pretty popular. So I looked through all the stuff, and then I finally found, for $2, these little herring fillets. They're the Kipper style, you know, from Brunswick. So came home, and of course it looks like this. Now I didn't want to pull this off like a can of Spam, because then it would be ruined. So I drilled 2 holes, but I needed a larger hole to put the alcohol in. And so I cut the hole, and then I made this little cover, and I got to tell a short story about that. So that's my 3rd try. So the first one I made, this is it. It was just a little too small, so no problem. I made another one, and then I did something else. I came back, it was gone. I spent 25 minutes searching this area for it. I never did find it to this day. I don't know where it is. Just disappeared off the face of the earth. The devil did it. So I made a 3rd one. So that's just part of my incompetence, which is getting worse and worse. So anyway, look at what a nice flat can that is. Well, I almost forgot to tell you, the darn thing is filled with herring fillets. Well, it was just a matter of mush. So I cut this little hole, square hole, with the Dremel tool, and then, you know, that oily, fishy stuff, it was all over the bench. So I had to go outside and finish it up. Then I went back by my burning bush, reminds me of Moses, and so I had to get that fish out of there. So I got a tweezer. It took quite a while, and I'm thinking, well, the raccoons will get this tonight, no problem. But all of a sudden, Finn, that's Sophia's dog, you know, the black dog with the white face. I love that dog. He kind of snuck up on me without making any noises, and he was sniffing. They always sniff, that's their whole life. And he ate one piece of the herring, and then I pulled out a rather large piece and offered it to him, and he turned his nose and ran away. So even a dog wouldn't eat this, but I didn't try it. It's probably okay. Just, I don't eat anything, so why would I eat that? So it took quite a while to get all of that out and to fish it out. No pun intended, by the way. And then I thoroughly cleaned it with the garden hose, and then I put soap in there, so it doesn't smell at all. But that was just the perfect idea. But let me go up now. This is essentially the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, but we're going to go up to the computer, and I'll show you the suggested way to make one of these. I wish I'd have saw that first. I probably wouldn't have had to go to the freak show for this and spend $2, which is nothing, because, well, I got to give another lesson on economics. I know you're sick of hearing this, but this is a $1 bill, but it's not worth $1. It's worth 10 cents. So this actually costs 20 cents. Before we go up, I thought this was such a neat engine. I've had this for years, but as I said, the heater doesn't work, and the heater isn't a regular resistor type thing. It's 2 carbon blocks. So if you run out of water, there is no longer any path for the electricity, so it won't blow up or it won't damage anything. But I don't know, I might have to take this apart. But this is, if you look here on the bottom, is it upside down? You know, I can't see anything. Junior Engineer K100. But the neat thing about this is, if all the parts are here, and I hope they are in that one I bought, it can be converted into 3 different configurations. This is the beam engine, and then we can also convert it in with some other parts, and then we don't use some of the parts. We can convert it into a vertical or a horizontal. I hope to do all that and show that. This is all die. This is pretty awesome. But these, I believe, are from the 40s and the 50s. They're not all that old. All right, now we're truly going up to the computer. No more nonsense. Okay, this is the WEEDEN engine site. I hope this shows up. And there are many different pages here, so check that all out if you are interested. Let me show you some other pages. This page will give you a little idea of the wide variety and number of different little model steam engines that they make. By the way, there's a beam engine right there I kind of like. Most of these I have never seen. They were either thrown away or are in the hands of collectors, and there's upright engines. We call them vertical. I do. Lots of them. Oh, and they made little locomotives and boats. And motors, electric motors. That must have been quite a company. And all the accessories. Man, interesting. And there is the one that I just fired up, the WEEDEN number 14 from the 1920s. And there were a lot of versions of it because they made it for many, many years. I fully understand this doesn't show up very well, but you can get spare parts like the sight glass and the knob and the little governor. This is what the original burner looked like. I know it doesn't show up, but look here. How to make a burner, so I'm going to click on that. I hope Mr. Retro Steam is watching this. He likes these old engines. And he's contacted me a few times. Hello out there, I don't remember your real name, but there is a fully refurbished, restored one, number 14, and I'm not going to spend time on this, but you know, here is how to make one. But they're making it out of steel, and I think needs to be brazed. I do need a little handle on mine. You could see that I was, well, I spilled the alcohol, I almost burned the house down. It needs a handle. There's even dimensions. Okay, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure and watch at least one of my other 1,500 shop videos. This is the skeletal remains of Mr. Pete saying, so long for now. I'll see you at my visitation.